Namaste. Hope everybody made it through the storm okay. Sending out prayers to those who are hurting right now. Maybe today in your practice you might consider dedicating or putting intention into sending out peace to those you know have been affected by the storm. It's always good to have a little way of putting back into the universe, especially whenever you can be in a place where you're safe, sheltered, you have AC. Offering up gratitude for those things and putting out some good energy. So today, if you have your blocks, you can grab that. Make sure you have a blanket and a strap. If you don't have a strap, you could use a belt. We're going to get started in a child's pose. And if you want to, you can use your blanket either underneath your knees or in between your calves and your thighs. So we'll sink back. Let your elbows rest on the floor. Relax your head, or even put a block underneath your head if it doesn't quite come down to the ground. But we'll take some time to slow down, to check in. Tuning in to where you're at today. Physically, mentally, energetically. Without pressure to change anything, we're just going to drop in and observe for a moment. So become aware of your breathing. However you can sense your breath, tune into those sensations. Maybe the feeling of your breath as it moves in and out of your nostrils. Maybe there's a sound to it. As your belly expands and you're breathing, maybe you feel the body move. And at this time, just continue to focus on your breath. Nothing else. Allowing your breath to deepen, you feel each exhale help to relax your body a little more. So this is one of the first steps into getting into a practice of yoga. It's learning how to relax. And a good way to do that biologically is to deepen your breath and close your eyes. When you do that, your body knows that it's safe. Activates the parasympathetic nervous system. And that way you can move into your practice with a little more awareness, a little bit more of a relaxed nature, so that you don't have to strain or push or potentially hurt yourself. Let's come up onto fours, table pose, and just take a few moments to let your body move intuitively, any way that feels good. And we're going to start with the right foot forward, we're going to practice yin today. You can use your blocks on either side of your foot to rise up. Slide your right foot over to the right a little bit so that you can point your hips forward easily. Take your hands, interlace your fingers, and place them on top of your right thigh. And start to sink your hips forward and toward the earth. Don't let your right knee go past your right ankle. So hips toward the earth and forward while you lift your heart. Drop your shoulders back. Start to cultivate a diaphragmatic breath. And that just means actively breathing. Using the muscles in your body to take deeper breaths than you're normally taking. And as you tune into the sensation in your body, let each exhale help to relax you a little more. Remember, this is only for a moment. Do the best you can. Let's take 3 more deep breaths. And on the exhale, come down, take your hands inside of your right foot. Use your blocks. If you don't have blocks, you could use a pile of books. It works pretty good. So lowering your forearms toward the earth. Keep the right knee over the right ankle. And maybe you don't come down quite as far as your forearms. Maybe both arms stay straight. Basically, just finding the place where you're at your edge. Pushing past it, you go into pain, but you're not coasting either. All of the postures, we try to incorporate that aspect of reaching the edge. Deep breathing. So in yin yoga, which you've probably heard the term yin yang. Yin yoga is the slower paced, holding poses for longer, 1 to 5 minutes in each pose. And basically by doing that without your body being warmed up, the practice targets your connective tissue, the fascia, the sheath of fibrous, plastic-like tissue that surrounds each muscle, keeping the muscle in place and in shape. This practice helps to stretch those tissues, and it's a slow process. Yin energy is slow and cool and fluid, soft, receiving, gentle. If you want to deepen your edge, walk your hands to the left and keep your right knee over your right ankle. Try to stay as low as you can. And if you want to further the challenge, tuck your back toes and lift your left knee off the mat. Now these are options, okay? So do what's best for you within your body, within where your energy is today. If you walk your hands over to the left, walk them back through center. Slide your right foot forward a bit and draw your toes towards you. Square your hips forward and bow towards your shin. Keep a little bend in your right knee so that the knees aren't locked. Deep breaths. Couple more breaths here. So it literally takes that amount of time, 1 to 5 minutes, to actually allow your connective tissue to stretch out. It's different than muscle fiber. It's denser. And it's a matrix. So it's like layers upon layers stacked. Fibrous. And what happens whenever we experience the conditioning of sitting or an injury, a trauma, those fibers get all jumbled up. They're not smooth like they normally are. So what happens whenever you stretch the yin tissues, the fascia, is that that matrix starts to slide over itself again and starts to realign and smooth out. And that effect stays within the tissue for a long time. Let's come forward, take the right foot back to meet the left. We'll meet up in a child's pose for a few breaths. Just relaxing in child's pose. Yin class, yin practice is a good time to really drop into a stillness. It's part of the practice. Moving along, we'll come forward, take the left foot in between your hands, and get yourself set up where your hips are squared. So moving the left foot over to the left a bit, left knee over the left ankle. Right knees on a blanket for support. Fingers interlaced. Pressing the left thigh Lift the heart. Send your hips forward and down. And relax your jaw. Open your mouth wide, say ah. Sometimes we carry tension in places that we don't even know, we're not even aware of. So, as you breathe and concentrate in these poses, focus in on what areas feel tense or feel resistant. And focus on the areas that feel open, that feel like the energy is moving through. And focus on the breath. More breaths. Make these breaths full, the fullest that you've taken so far. Let's take both hands inside the left foot. Start to lower toward the earth. Remember, arms could be straight, or you could drop one forearm down, or both. Remember, be gentle with your body. And the body's kind of like a car, you know. The more consistent you are with maintenance, the more gentle you drive it, the longer it's going to last. So think of your yoga practice as like a oil change, but more frequently than an oil change, unless you're doing yoga once every 3 months. But taking care of your body is what this practice is about, and that changes day to day, year to year, decade to decade. Option here, you can walk your hands to the right, reach out through the left arm, maybe even lift the right knee. Back up through center. Take the left foot forward. Without locking the knee, draw your left toes towards you. Bow in towards your shin. Breathing deeply. A few more breaths, stay with it. We'll come up. Left foot to meet the right. Sinking back. Child's pose. Rest against the earth. Come up. You can find a comfortable seated position. Take your strap. And you want a distance of a little wider than your shoulders. Okay. Hold the strap with both hands. Take a breath and reach up. Keeping your arms straight. Draw your shoulders down your back and toward. Your arms go toward the wall behind you. Just enough. Start to feel some resistance, maybe a little intensity, but remember the idea is to take care of your body, not hurt yourself. Deep breaths. Shrug your shoulders. We'll sit up with the left leg extended out. You could use a block here. So take your left elbow, place it onto your left shin or block, and hold your head up with your left hand. Right arm could go up and over. If this is too much on your shoulder, then take your right hand around your lower back, but keep this right shoulder opening toward the ceiling. And breathe into this side bend, which is a great way to help the rib cage to stretch out. And then, as a result of that, being able to breathe deeper. And let your eyes close, maybe, and find some stillness. And as you find that your body starts to release and let go, adjust within the posture, go deeper if you need to. Little by little, right? One breath at a time. Keep the top shoulder opening toward the ceiling. Just a few more breaths. Slowly rise up. Take both your hands to the right of your right knee. Press down into the earth. Take your left foot flat as you rise up. Bring the right knee underneath the right hip. This is set up for bent knee side plank. You could use a block underneath your hand. I'm going to reach up the left arm. Lean the left shoulder back. And then reach the left arm opposite of the left leg. Long side bend with the left. Deep breaths. Exhaling to come down. We'll take the right leg out and switch to the other side. Setting up with your block or just using your shin. Right hand, head resting on the right hand. Left shoulder open toward the ceiling, either overhead or behind the lower back. You might notice that this side is a little different. Create some space for that difference. Deep breaths. So within both sides of the yin and the yang spectrum, each have a benefit. Yang energy is strengthening, it's fast-paced, cardiovascular system. Yin energy, it helps to create flexibility and mobility in the body. And ideally, it's good to have both. To be super flexible but not strong, it comes with a potential risk of injury, and that without the strength, your flexibility might cause you to overextend in some way. If you're very strong but not flexible, your muscles have so much tightness that it's just the opposite, the other way. Stiffness, potential to tear something. So what we'll be doing this semester is creating that balance between both flexibility, strength, mobility, agility, capability. Let's come up slowly. Set up with your block to the left. Press the right foot flat. Raise up with the left knee underneath the left hip. Straight up and down with the left thigh. Right arm reaches up. Lean back. Press into the outer edge of your right foot. And reach your right arm opposite of the right leg. And so all of these practices in yoga create resilience within the body and the mind. By working through physical challenge, whether it requires balance, flexibility, strength, you're creating those same principles within the mind. We'll come down to a comfortable seated position. And go ahead and grab your journal. And so today the topic will be on resilience. You know, what with the storm happening, and the idea that the human spirit has this constant resilience no matter what. We push through, we survive. So there's a quote on it. The oak fought the wind and was broken. The willow bent when it must and survived. It's by Robert Jordan in The Fire of Heaven. So write about your experience with resilience and what it means to you, potentially including experiences regarding hurricanes or just tough situations to be in and how you persevered. Let's find a sit with feet together, knees apart. Take a breath, sit up tall. As you exhale, start to go forward. Bowing towards your feet, you can press your thumbs at the bottom of the big toe and open your feet like they're a book. If you wanted to, you could use a block underneath your head to just rest on the block. Staying with your diaphragmatic breathing. Just a few more breaths. And we'll come up. You make your way to line on your back. Take your knees into your heart. Make a circle with your knees massaging the lower back. Switch directions. Keep your knees straight up, pointing toward the ceiling, and then take them over to the left. Bring your arms out in a T. Turn your head over your right shoulder, breathing in an easy twist. Rise back to center. Switch to the other side. Breathing over the left shoulder. Back to center. Plant your feet on the earth 6 inches apart and take your arms alongside your hips. Start to press your lower back down against the floor. Feel your navel pull in towards your spine. Keep that energy as you start lifting your tailbone off the floor, pressing into your heels. Slowly, one vertebrae at a time, lift the hips. Moving from the lower back to the middle back to the upper back. Use the strength in your legs to press into the floor. And push your knees forward toward the front of your mat. Couple more deep breaths. Maybe lift a little higher. And we'll come back down slowly. You can take your blanket and roll it. Place it underneath your knees. Oh, and if there's anything else that you feel like you need right now, you might take a happy baby pose with your hands on the outer edges of your feet or shins. Rock a little side to side. So whatever's feeling good for you at this time, enjoy movement, enjoy being in your body. It's pretty sweet having a body. So with the blanket underneath your knees, arms and legs a little wider than the mat, Shavasana. Probably one of the most, if not the most important pose, where you can just let go of everything, relax into the earth, let go of your practice, let go of your breath. Maybe you can let go of who you think you are, your story. Give yourself this time to heal and rest. slowly start to come back to life. And you rub your thumbs across your fingertips, wiggle your toes, feel the sensation in your body. Rotate your wrists and your ankles, turn your head side to side. Take a deep stretch, reach your arms overhead, bring your feet together. And take your knees into your heart. Gently rock over to one side. And slowly come up to seated. Take your blanket and fold it in such a way that you can have a little sit. And so get comfortable. You can rest your hands on your knees or in your lap. And today, if you want to take a mudra, try bringing your thumb and index fingers together. This is symbolic in a way that the thumb represents yourself. The index finger represents your higher self, which could be like your spirit. And then the three other fingers represent attraction, aversion, and indifference. And here we're letting those fall to the earth, and we're bringing together the higher self and the regular self. So relax your shoulders, find a tall spine. Bring attention back to your breath. And at this time, notice how you feel. Maybe comparing to when we first started. And if there's still a lot of thoughts racing through the mind, just be compassionate towards yourself. This isn't about trying to clear your mind. It's just a means by which to concentrate on cultivating that. And feel your breath in your body and the sensation of the air through the nose. Maybe come back to that intention that you set for this practice. Sending out energy to those who are in need in whatever form. Just a few more breaths. Stay with it. Bringing hands together at the heart center. Taking a moment to bow in and honor your practice, honor yourself. Asking that we can step forward from our mat today with a little more patience, a little more clarity and peace. Bring these gifts into the world to share with others, to be a light and a guide. Namaste. All right. Good job, everybody. Hope that's what you needed today. Remember that message of taking what you experience here and bringing it with you. Your practice doesn't end on the mat. Bringing that peace, bringing that clarity out into the world is a service, and it's one that is desperately needed at this time. So do the best that you can and be well.